And welcome to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless and Matt Stevenson of Allied Wealth. Ryan, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Cynthia, and I've got my plaid jacket on today. So
awesome.
The plaid jacket is a big joke in our office because the guys always are, doing appointments with clients and pulling up our website on introductory meetings and kind of showing everybody the team, and they always give me a hard time about my plaid jacket.
Oh, well, it looks nice. Very nice.
It's the intro to every client call that I do. And Cynthia, just so you know, I've got my stopwatch handy because I want to see how far into the show we can make it before Ryan reminds us that he's a pilot.
All right. Well, there we go. The clock is ticking.
Oh, I love it. Well, gentlemen, it's so nice to have you back in the studio today because obviously things have been so incredibly busy. We talk about the success of the show. People have been calling in. They want to see you in your plaid jacket. I know,
they do.
Right?
They do. They do.
And they want to know why Matt is nicknamed Blade. That's the other comments that we're getting, right?
Absolutely.
So sharp, if you touch him, it cuts your fingers.
And if you come to see us, we'll tell you all the stories.
There's so many stories. So many stories.
So I have to ask you right out of the gate, Ryan, what types of questions are you hearing more than anything else right now involving retirement?
There's a lot of questions that we're getting. A lot of people are scared right now because they're turning on the nightly news and we're going to war and inflation's going up and we're printing all this money and taxes are going up and people are just really uncertain about what's happening in the future, and there's just not a lot of comfort level going on. So they're really calling into the show. They're taking advantage of the financial flight plan, which I designed because I'm a pilot, by the way.
I didn't know that. Are you really?
Yes, ma'am. That was a joke, by the way. Cynthia does know I'm a pilot, folks. And so, but they do take advantage of the flight plan, and as part of what we're trying to accomplish is to try to ease some of their concerns.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where I feel like if you're going to work your whole life and accumulate and save money to get to where you want to go in retirement, you should be able to do that and be comfortable.
Yeah.
But we've got all these things going on with the news media and all these negative things going on. It kind of feels like a little bit of an awkward situation, a little bit of an eerie feeling right now for folks.
Sure.
And what we're able to do is when folks call in, we're able to actually help them ease those fears by showing them the way we plan at Allied Wealth. And one of the biggest things that we do is we don't just look at risk tolerance. That's how much money you think you can afford to lose in a down market. We look at something called risk capacity, and that's the actual dollar amount you can afford to lose in a down market. And we build a plan for you based on what that portfolio can produce. So if that portfolio has an average annual return of X, Y, and Z, and a standard deviation of risk number of X, Y, and Z, and that's what your risk capacity numbers are, we plug that plan into your overall portfolio. And then and what that portfolio then does is we match that with your income and spending plan, and that tells us how much money you can take out of your portfolio and live comfortably and still maintain a high chance of success in retirement. And when people actually go through that process, they're like, wait a minute, Ryan, are you telling me I can turn that guy off on the news tonight and not worry about it? I'm like, yeah, turn the news off. News is no good anymore.
Yeah.
Turn it off. Quit listening to that stuff. Go enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, coming out of the pandemic, being a post-pandemic world now, if you will, Matt, I have to ask you, when we're looking at everything that's happening right now, like Ryan just mentioned, inflation specifically, how can that erode someone's portfolio if they're not prepared for it?
Absolutely, Cynthia. And the inflation that we're seeing right now, some of the highest we've ever seen in our nation's history. I think last month it was close to 8% year over year. We haven't seen that in over 40 years. And so, for instance, I met with a gentleman last Friday. He'd been positioned in cash for over a decade because he was just terrified of all the market volatility, just waiting for the market to crash again. And he came in with concerns about the dollars eroding in value, just sitting there in the bank, earning next to nothing, while the cost of living is skyrocketing. And so really having those conversations, understanding through that educational process how to position your portfolio in an inflationary environment. There are different asset categories that we can take advantage of, such as commodities. and Treasury inflation protected securities, for examples, that do well in rising inflationary environments. And so really diving under the hood of what's available to you to see how to properly build a portfolio to withstand any market environment.
And Matt,
Okay.
to that end, you know, a lot of people have portfolios and they think their portfolios shift and move towards things that do well in inflationary environments. And those things are commodities, gold, as Matt alluded to, real estate, large cap equities. And people think that they're advisors and they're kind of moving things around like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, right?
Yeah.
He's going to move this money around and move my money more towards things that will do well in an inflationary environment. And folks at home, I got news for you. That's not how it works. They don't do that. They actually allocate your money in a way to try to help mitigate that risk, but they don't move the money towards asset classes that actually do well. How do we know this? Well, because we have people calling in the show every single week getting their portfolios tested. And I always ask, hey, what does your current portfolio do to help fight inflation? And most people don't have an answer. They don't know.
Not a clue.
And then, you know, we go into a deep dive in their portfolio through our portfolio x-ray system. And what we find is that oftentimes people think their portfolio does help fight inflation, but when we stress test it in an inflationary environment, it fails.
Wow.
And fails often.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we talk to our clients often about, especially when we have those initial visits, are different ways to build a retirement plan. You know, there's certainly a passive or more of a buy and hold type of approach to building an investment strategy. That's where you're going to track more alongside what the market does through those good and those volatile times. And it creates a lot of variability and uncertainty in what the nest egg can do. A lot of what we talk to our clients and educate them about is how to create a more consistent result and
Get rid
process.
of the wobble factor.
Exactly. Get rid of that wobble factor, all that variability, because that not only affects the dollars in the nest egg, but especially when you're in retirement, Cynthia,
Yeah.
it affects your income. And so that's what it's all about, is being able to spend with confidence in retirement over the next 20 to 30 years.
Is that still the number one fear that most people have, is running out of money during their retirement, Ryan?
Without a doubt,
Absolutely.
Cynthia. And that's, you know, we have a mantra at Allied Wealth. Our financial flight plan is designed to solve the retirement equation. And the retirement equation is, how do you live the next 30 years, 40 years without a paycheck and not run out of money or income in the process? And that absolutely is the biggest fear we hear all the time. I don't want to run out of money and become to be a burden on my children or someone else.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to have my husband die and now I'm left alone. My kids are in 3 other states and I'm left alone, and now I've got to go into a nursing care facility on my own. So people are, you know, very concerned about that kind of stuff. And as part of what we do with the financial flight plan is we try to plan around those scenarios. You know, it's like in aviation, we always plan for the worst case scenario. What is the
Yeah.
worst case scenario? We talk about this all the time, Cynthia.
Yeah, one engine failing.
One engine failing. So we've got a 2-engine airplane, and every time we take that airplane off the down the runway and go into the sky, we are absolutely planning for one of those engines to fail. And if we're expecting it to happen, and it does happen, we're prepared for it.
Right.
And doing a retirement plan with these variables of fighting inflation, worried about taxation, which we're going to get into here in a few minutes,
Yeah.
and also long-term care issues, or, you know, having my husband die and I'm left alone and who's going to take care of me kind of thing. We go through all those analysis and all those scenarios so that you can retire with confidence, and we kind of help remove, as Matt said, the wobble factor, and help remove those worries and those fears.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I know that you and Matt have a very special offer to present to the viewers at home today. Why don't we talk about what that is before we open the phone lines?
Absolutely, folks. We're offering the financial flight plan, and you just heard me talk about an engine failure on takeoff in an airplane and how we plan for that every single time. There's so much redundancy built into that type of planning that we carry that type of planning over to our written comprehensive financial plan that we call a financial flight plan. And that is our offer to you today. To take advantage of it is so easy. All you've got to do is call the number. It's 844-944-7555. Again, 844-944-7555. And when you have this flight plan, folks, when it's done for you, we look at your risk capacity. We build you an investment plan, an income plan, a tax plan, a health care plan, super important, by the way, and lastly, a legacy plan. So we make sure the money you want to leave behind actually goes where it needs to go. It's written comprehensive. It's super important to have, and there's so much value to it. And we offer it to the listeners, the viewers of the show, complimentary. So please take advantage by clicking the QR code, go to onthemoneytv.com, or call 844-944-7555. Tell the folks that answer the phone that you want the financial flight plan.
Ryan, thank you so much. Matt, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 844-944-7555. We know you have a lot of questions for Matt and Ryan about how to plan your perfect retirement. They have the answers for you. Again, we're going to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. I have so much more with Ryan and Matt when we return.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless and Matt Stevenson of Allied Wealth. Gentlemen, a great show that we're having today, talking about two very important things to consider, major threats, if you will, in retirement. We covered inflation. Let's dive into taxes. Matt, why is that something that can be really detrimental to someone in their retirement years?
Yeah, Cynthia, and a lot of folks think that healthcare costs are going to be their biggest expense in retirement. That's actually not true. It's taxation in retirement. So if you take, a couple that's, earning $120,000 a year, well, over the course of 20 or 30 years in retirement, they could well spend over $700,000 in taxes.
$700,000. Wow.
That's a big
huge number.
That's huge.
And they're probably doing that in this scenario on a $2 million portfolio.
Wow.
So if you think about $2 million, and I'm going to pay $720,000 in taxes or more over that time period, and that's a big percentage of what you overall have.
Absolutely.
Now, thankfully, it doesn't come out at one time. You pay it over time, so it's amortized over that 30 or 40-year period. But it is a big, big number. And Matt's smart when it comes to taxes. He's an MBA from Virginia Tech. We know he's an MBA from Virginia Tech because he has a sweater from Virginia Tech, and it's crimson red, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I've actually seen Matt proudly wear the sweater in the summertime in Houston, by the way.
I have to rep my school all the time.
Absolutely.
He does
That
it.
makes
And you're a Hokie, right? I mean,
Yeah. Nobody knows what a Hokie is.
to this day, I am wondering what a Hokie is.
It's just like a muscular turkey.
a muscular turkey.
Yeah.
Awesome. A muscular turkey.
I
Can we
just tell
Google
people
that?
that I am.
So Blade is a muscular turkey.
That is so cool.
But absolutely, taxes in retirement, that's one of the most important conversations that we have with our
It is
clients.
super important, Bob.
Ryan, we met with a couple just a week or so ago. Just turned 68 and 67, I believe.
This was...
they've built a $3 million nest egg, so they've done very well to position themselves.
They retired with $3 million at 60.
Yeah,
They're
at
now
60.
68 and 67. So
Okay.
their nest egg has produced the income they need and grown quite a bit.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things they didn't take into account is
Their advisor,
exactly.
well-known firm, big
With a
name,
big box company.
big name firm in town, big one, and they went with these folks because you got $3 million, you go with the big name boys.
Yeah, and so they came in just to get a second opinion, see how they were positioned. One of the things we were able to point out to them is that when you turn 72, you have those required minimum distributions. So on all those pre-tax accounts, you're forced to take money out each and every year because Uncle Sam is a partner in your retirement plan. Well, we were able to show them that those forced distributions are going to equate to north of $200,000 a year when they only need to generate $70,000 a year from their portfolio to maintain their lifestyle.
And they only need to do that. Their income need is 150 grand a year. They're taking 70 out of their portfolio, and they're getting 80,000 a year from Social Security. So what's going to happen is their income at 72 is going to jump up from 80,000 a year from the Social Security to $290,000 a year because these forced distributions from their IRA accounts.
Oh, wow.
And their tax liability is going to go through the roof. And the Trump tax cuts are expected to expire right about the time this happens for these folks.
Oh, boy.
And so it's a tax time bomb. And here's what's even crazier. One of the most punitive things about the current tax code, the way it sits, and it needs to be changed, it probably won't be, but it should be, is that if the husband, when one spouse dies, doesn't matter who, but one of them's going to die first, typically, it's the husband. What's going to happen is the wife remaining is going to be able to file a joint tax return and qualify for joint rates, right, which are better rates than single filer rates for one more year. After which she's going to have to still take the same required mandatory distributions, but she's going to have to pay tax rates as a single filer. And the tax liability is going to be huge.
Absolutely.
And to compound the problem, these folks have done well, and they're believers in education and put both their kids, one of them went to A&M, one of them went to Tech. I don't want to have a conversation in that household on football day or whatever, And so, but they put both their kids through school, and these kids are both doing well. One of them's a petroleum engineer, the other guy's a electrical engineer. Both of them work for different oil companies in Houston, but they're making some good money, rightfully so. The mom and dad put them through school, right? Well, what's going to happen is that when the kids inherit these balances and these IRAs, because mom and dad are pretty thrifty, there's going to be money left over here. What's going to happen is these kids are going to have 10 years to take the money out of the inherited IRAs. Only 10 years now under the Secure Act. That's just changed. And so mom and dad's money is just going to be ravaged by taxes. And all of this could have been prevented had they just done some proper tax planning. And this big box firm just didn't even think about it.
And that's exactly why, we encourage all of our clients, when they have the ability to, when they turn 59 and a half, 60 years of age, after they've done well to build and position the nest egg over their working years, we absolutely have to take advantage of properly positioning the nest egg for rising tax rates, because to fund all the things that our government does, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the interest that we're paying on $31 trillion of national debt, we absolutely know that tax rates will rise in the future when these folks are going to be forced to take those mandatory distributions and in their early 70s. And so everything that we can possibly do in that 10 to 12 year window to alleviate not only the forced distributions, but provide a tax efficient legacy for their kids, we absolutely need to take advantage of that.
And Cynthia, just one more thing I've got the folks at home need to know about. If you don't take an RMD, folks, you're penalized 50% of the distribution, all right, plus you have to pay the tax on the total distribution. Well, 50% plus the tax can be up to 85% tax rate you pay for not taking a required mandatory distribution.
Wow.
And it is mind-boggling.
That is staggering. Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I know that we have to go to a commercial break, and Ryan, you have a very special offer that you want to present to the viewers at home. Let's talk about what that is from you.
I do, Cynthia. Thank you so much. Folks at home, we're offering you the financial flight plan. If anything Matt and I are talking about right now with taxation is resonating with you, then pick up the phone and give us a call, because part of the financial flight plan is we do a comprehensive tax analysis. We dive into areas where we can get rid of this tax-infested, money in your retirement accounts and try to mitigate your tax liability over time, because we believe taxes are your biggest expense in retirement, and we can absolutely help you mitigate tax liability. But if you wait until it's too late, you get out beyond the realm where we can't help you. So, folks, to take advantage is so easy. It's 844-944-7555. Pick up your cell phone, dial the number right now. It's 844-944-7555. you can check us out at onthemoneytv.com. There's a QR code down at the bottom of the screen. We all know what those are with the COVID menus these days, right? And so lastly, folks, coming up in the break, you're going to see very, very awesome commercial about the Mighty Oaks Warriors program. Allied Wealth and my team are avid supporters of this organization, and we fight PTSD because we have 20 soldiers a day take their life on U.S. soil as a direct result of the feelings they have from PTSD, and it's my goal to get that number from 20 down to 0.
Ryan, thank you so much, Matt. Thank you so much. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 844-944-7555. We'll be right back after this very important and touching video message. Stay tuned.
Many of our veterans feel they need to fight their battles alone. This self-isolation has led to the staggering statistic of more than 20 veterans taking their lives every day. The mission of Mighty Oaks is to eradicate the veteran suicide epidemic and help our warriors change their legacies. We've been able to help over 4,000 veterans and first responders by equipping them with the tools they need to live the lives they were created to live. Our faith-based, peer-to-peer approach has one of the highest success rates of any program available today, offering hope and understanding to those who need it most. By aligning their lives to biblical principles, these men and women are able to lead their families, their communities, and our nation. It's your generosity that can make a difference in the lives of the men and women who have fought for our country and our freedoms. Now that they're home, don't let them fight alone. Learn more at mightyoaksprograms.org.
And welcome back to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless and Matt Stevenson of Allied Wealth. Gentlemen, that video is so touching and so very important for us to air because obviously that is such a very dear charity of choice for you. And thank you so much for allowing us to show that again.
It's our pleasure, Cynthia. We've raised a lot of money for that organization over a long period of time. And we love the fact that it's faith-based and it has such a high success rate of helping those soldiers get back on the right path and get moving society and just have a wonderful, wonderful life.
Absolutely. So again, bless you both for what you do. I love that.
Of course.
Matt, I have to ask you a question, obviously. We're talking about taxes, at least we were in the last segment. And if they're so important, then why do a lot of advisors not talk about tax planning? May I ask you and put you on the spot? I know you didn't know I was going to ask that question.
Yeah, of course. And it really comes down to the difference in the types of advisors that you can see out there. So
Blade's got an answer for this, Cynthia, I promise you.
Okay.
Absolutely. And, you know, a lot of those bigger box companies, they were what we'd call an accumulation specialist. They do an awesome job of helping people to build their nest egg while they're still contributing to their IRAs, their 401ks over the years. But once you get in that retirement red zone, that 5 to 10 years out from retirement, the mentality changes because now we need to take those dollars that we've done so well to accumulate over the years and turn that into a paycheck to where we don't run out of money over the next 20 to 30 years. And so that is where we look to remove a lot of the variability, add in consistency, not only with how the nest egg works, but having these additional conversations about how to properly position for a rising inflationary environment, and especially covering healthcare and tax costs all the way through retirement.
Absolutely.
And, you know, Matt, the other thing that's overlooked is that a lot of these advisors, people think that because you work for a financial company, that you're a financial advisor. And that's often not the case. They're brokers, and they sell variable annuities and mutual funds for commissions. That's what they do. They're not advisors. We are advisors at Allied Wealth. We are financial planners at first and money managers second. And that's what we do is we do financial planning. We do it at a level I believe is better than anybody else in the state, in the entire state of Texas by a mile. And so we're very proud of that fact, by the way. So it's one of those things that we really take into account everything. And an example is this overlooked fact. People that take Social Security, they don't understand that their Social Security income is taxable up to 85% of it. All right, so and they go, well, wait a minute, Ryan, I'm paying tax twice, and people don't like paying tax on Social Security income. Well, what they don't understand is with tax liability and income planning is if you go from the 12% tax bracket up to the 22% tax bracket, or even 24, all of your Social Security income that's taxable, all of it is taxed at the highest marginal tax rate. So you bracket income on the way up. You pay some income tax, 10 to 12%, 10%, 12%. Then you go to 22%, then you go to 24%. So you kind of pay a little bit each on the way up, and you bracket on the way up.
Okay.
Social Security income doesn't bracket on the way up. Whatever your highest marginal tax rate is, the 85% of your Social Security that's taxable is all taxed at the highest marginal tax rate.
Wow.
And you can wind up giving away, just from going from 12% to 22% bracket, you can give away 10% of your Social Security income.
Oh my gosh.
And over a 30 or 40 year period, that adds up to some big bucks.
Sure, absolutely. Well, Matt, I have to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot again. What does it feel like when someone first comes into Allied Wealth? What can they expect?
Yeah, and it's all about building those relationships, Cynthia. We're the same people in the office as what you see on TV. We're
Matt's still a hokey at the office.
you'll find that out within 5 minutes, just like you'll know Ryan's a pilot within 5 minutes. So, really seeing if there's a fit that we can build when people come to see us. Really building those relationships, getting to know what your goals are. What you want to fill your life doing. We've had a client for many years, retired from one of our biggest oil and gas companies.
Big player there.
Yeah, got to retire early in his mid-50s, and he actually called the office on Monday morning after he retired on a Friday and told us that he was sitting in the parking garage at his company. So went about his business, getting ready for work that day, drove to the office, and he said, Matt, Ryan, I don't work here anymore, but I have no idea what I want to do with my day. And so having those conversations to understand what your vision is for the next 20 plus years, that's a lot of the coaching and the relationship building that we want to do with you.
And beyond that, it's communication.
Yeah.
I mean, the communication on the front end is super important, but even after you become a client, communication is extremely important. And we actually communicate with our clients on a weekly basis. Every single week, our clients get an update from us and know exactly how their portfolios are doing and what's going on in their accounts. Not quarterly, not monthly, every single week.
Yeah.
And we send that out via email to our clients, and it's so awesome because Sunday is when this email goes out, and I get emails from clients, and sometimes the markets are down and the portfolios are down a little bit that week. And like, well, Roy, hey, what happened this week, Ryan? Well, inflation went up, bond values went down, the market's a little bit crazy. I think via our long-term investment plan, we're going to be just fine. So just hang in there, But that communication is such an important thing, and our clients absolutely love the fact that we communicate often and communicate well.
Well, Ryan and Matt, only a minute left of the show this week. Any final words of wisdom and advice?
Absolutely, folks. Take advantage of the Financial Flight Plan, folks. It's one of these programs that you have access to via the show. It's complimentary. We're going to look at your risk capacity and your risk tolerance. We're going to build an investment portfolio that most importantly matches your risk capacity. Then we're going to build you an income plan that allows you to go out and spend money in retirement with confidence. And we're going to build a tax plan so more of your money stays with you and less of it winds up in the pocket of Uncle Sam. To take advantage is so easy. All you got to do is pick up your phone right now, call 844-944-7555. Again, 844-944-7555. Click the QR code. Check us out at onthemoneytv.com.
Ryan, thank you so much. Matt, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, thank you for spending time with us. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. See you next week.